You are here right now for a reason. This moment is not an accident. Something guided you here because there is a message you need to hear. There are times in life when everything becomes quiet. The world keeps moving around you, but inside your heart, questions begin to grow. Doubt appears. Uncertainty takes over. You wonder if what you feel is real, or if it is only something your mind created. Yet, deep inside, beneath all the confusion and noise, there is another voice. It is calm. It is steady. It already knows the answer you have been searching for. This is one of those important moments. What you are about to hear is not just another collection of words. It is not random information passing through your life. It is an answer to the questions you have been carrying in silence. For days, weeks, or maybe even longer, you have been asking for clarity. You have been looking for a sign. You have been hoping for something that would finally help you understand what is happening between you and this person. Today brings you closer to that understanding. There is a feeling inside you that has refused to disappear. No matter how much time passes, no matter how many times you try to explain it away, something continues to pull your attention back toward this connection. You have felt a bond that seems difficult to describe. You have felt moments when this person appeared in your thoughts without warning. You have felt a strange sense of familiarity, as if part of you already knew them before you ever met. At times, you questioned yourself. You wondered if you were imagining things. You wondered if your heart was creating a story because it wanted something to believe in. You wondered if this connection was simply wishful thinking. But there is something important you need to understand. The feelings you have experienced did not appear without reason. The emotion that rises inside you when this person's name enters your mind is not something that can be dismissed so easily. The sense of recognition you feel is not something your heart invented overnight. There have been signs, there have been moments, there have been small details that continue appearing again and again. And deep down, part of you has noticed them all. The problem is not that the signs are missing. The problem is that fear often makes us doubt what we already know. Fear tells us to be careful. Fear tells us not to trust. Fear tells us that opening our hearts could lead to disappointment. Because of that, many people spend years questioning what their soul already understands. Today, you are being asked to look beyond fear. You are being asked to listen to yourself more honestly than ever before. The truth is that this connection has affected you deeply. It has changed the way you think. It has changed the way you feel. It has caused you to ask questions you never expected to ask. And perhaps the most difficult question of all is this: does this person truly feel the same way? That question has followed you for a long time. Sometimes it becomes louder during the quiet hours of the night. Sometimes it appears when this person seems distant. Sometimes it appears when they become silent and you do not understand why. Those moments can be painful. They can leave you feeling confused. They can make you wonder if everything you felt was real. But there is something important about silence that many people never understand. Silence is not always the absence of feeling. Distance is not always the absence of love. Sometimes people become quiet because what they feel is bigger than the words they know how to say. Sometimes people pull away because emotions become too intense to process. Sometimes the heart understands something before the mind is ready to accept it. This is why you have struggled to make sense of everything. Part of you feels the connection strongly. Another part keeps asking for proof. One side of you believes, the other side doubts. And this creates an inner battle that can feel exhausting. You may have spent countless hours trying to figure everything out. You may have replayed conversations in your head. You may have searched for hidden meanings behind messages, actions, and moments. You may have tried to convince yourself to move on. Yet no matter how hard you tried, something continued bringing your attention back. That is because some experiences cannot be solved through logic alone. Some feelings ask to be felt before they can be understood. What you are experiencing is not weakness, it is not foolishness, and it is not something that makes you irrational. You are standing in the middle of an emotional journey that is teaching you something important about yourself. This connection is showing you parts of your heart that have remained hidden for a long time. It is revealing fears you thought you had already overcome. It is bringing old wounds back to the surface, not to hurt you, not to punish you, but to help you finally heal them. Many people believe that love only brings happiness. The truth is that real love often brings awareness first. It shines a light on everything inside us that still needs attention. It reveals insecurities, it reveals fears, it reveals doubts. And because of that, growth can sometimes feel uncomfortable. When this person entered your life, something changed. Maybe it happened suddenly, maybe it happened slowly. But either way, you felt it. There was a shift. There was an energy you could not ignore, and from that moment forward, life no longer felt exactly the same. You began seeing things differently. You began feeling things more deeply. You began questioning beliefs that had once felt certain. That is not an accident. Some people enter our lives to teach us lessons. Others enter our lives to help us discover who we truly are. And sometimes, a connection becomes so powerful that it does both at the same time. That is why you are still thinking about this person today. That is why part of you still feels connected to them, despite everything. Because somewhere beneath all the uncertainty, there is a truth waiting to be understood. And as you continue listening, you may discover that the answers you have been searching for have been closer than you ever realized. That is why the silence is not a lack of care. It is a pause. It is a moment where the other person is not ignoring you, but trying to organize the storm inside them. Your presence has stirred emotions in them that they did not fully expect or know how to handle. So instead of responding immediately, they step back into silence to understand themselves again. In this way, silence becomes a form of processing, not rejection. In many connections like this, your role becomes the chaser. Sometimes this chasing is not only physical, but energetic. It happens in thoughts, emotions, and constant checking, wondering, and waiting. When you feel distance, your ego reacts quickly. It panics. It tries to fix everything at once. You feel the need to reach out, to explain yourself, to prove your feelings, or to repair what feels broken. But this pattern creates a cycle. This cycle of running and chasing does not bring closeness. Instead, it often increases the distance. It feels like an invisible force is pushing both of you further apart, even when the intention is to come closer. The more one person chases, the more the other feels pressure, and the more they withdraw. This creates imbalance, not connection. Here, one of the strongest spiritual principles becomes visible. It is the law of letting go in order to draw closer. This does not mean giving up love. It means releasing control. It means stopping the desperate energy of trying to force a result. The universe is not asking you to suffer in this waiting period. Instead, it is asking you to return to yourself. This time apart is not empty. It is meaningful. It is meant for healing. It is meant for rebuilding your inner world. The runner in this dynamic can only return when they feel that they are not needed for your wholeness. As long as your energy says, "I cannot be complete without you," they continue to run, because the energy feels heavy and demanding. But when you begin to choose yourself, something shifts. When you stand firmly in your own light, your energy changes completely. You stop reaching, you stop chasing, and you begin to focus on your own growth. You start to feel more grounded, more calm, and more complete within yourself. At that moment, the energetic pressure disappears. The connection feels lighter. The space between you becomes less tense. And slowly, something begins to happen in the other person. They feel the change even without words. They cannot always explain it, but they feel the shift. The emotional pressure they once felt is gone, and in its place, there is calm. This calm creates safety, and in that sense of safety, an inner pull can begin to form. Not from fear, not from pressure, but from natural alignment. This is how return begins in many deep emotional bonds. This pause between you is not punishment. It is alignment. It is one of the clearest ways the universe allows both people to heal separately. While you are apart, each of you is being guided to face your own emotional wounds, your own fears, and your own patterns. This separation is not meant to destroy the bond, but to purify it. The deeper purpose of this space is to clear emotional confusion. It removes fear, dependency, and insecurity. It slowly replaces those feelings with awareness, understanding, and emotional maturity. The goal is not reunion based on need, but reunion based on strength. Because when two people come back together after this process, they are not the same as before. They are more whole, they are more aware, they are less controlled by fear. And that changes everything about the connection. The bond that forms after this kind of inner work is not based on anxiety or chasing. It becomes a connection between two people who are choosing each other freely, not because they feel lost without each other, but because they feel stronger together. When you focus on your own healing, you naturally release the fear that once tied you to constant checking and waiting. That fear was the cord that created tension. As you heal, that cord weakens. As you grow, it dissolves. When this happens, the other person also feels the shift in their own way. They may not understand it logically, but emotionally, something changes in them too. This is why distance does not always weaken deep connections. Sometimes it reshapes them. You may still feel this person in your energy, even without communication. This often happens in strong emotional bonds. It feels like they are still present in your thoughts, your emotions, and your daily awareness. This is because emotional energy does not always follow physical distance. Small signs may appear in your daily life, moments that feel meaningful, coincidences that stand out more than usual. These experiences can feel like reminders. They act like gentle signals that your inner feelings are not random. The universe, in this understanding, communicates in subtle ways. It does not always give clear sentences or obvious answers. Instead, it speaks through timing, patterns, and emotional awareness. Sometimes you think of a person, and suddenly a song appears that reminds you of them. Sometimes you see something connected to a shared memory. Sometimes a feeling rises without explanation. These moments feel personal because they touch your emotional connection. This is why many people interpret synchronicity as a sign of connection. It feels like life itself is reflecting what you are feeling inside. There can also be emotional waves that come without clear reason. A sudden calm, a sudden sadness, or a sudden warmth can appear in your body. Later, you may realize that at the same time, the other person was also experiencing something similar. This is often described as emotional resonance. In this kind of bond, even dreams can feel very real. You may dream of the person in vivid detail. The conversations may feel natural. The emotions may feel strong and clear. When you wake up, it can feel like you truly spent time with them. These dreams feel real because the mind is quiet and emotional filters are reduced. In that state, feelings can appear more clearly, without resistance or fear. Another experience some people notice is waking up at specific times or thinking of a person immediately upon waking. These moments feel synchronized, as if something is trying to bring awareness to the connection. All of these experiences can feel deeply meaningful. But the most important part is how you interpret them. They are not meant to create obsession or confusion. They are meant to guide you back to emotional balance and awareness. This connection is not about chasing someone endlessly. It is about understanding yourself while experiencing deep emotion. It is about learning to hold love without losing yourself in it. As you grow in inner stability, doubt begins to fade. Fear begins to lose its power. And in its place, trust begins to rise. Trust in your path, trust in timing, trust in emotional growth. When you stop trying to control when or how someone returns, you allow space for natural alignment. You are no longer forcing outcomes. You are allowing life to unfold. This creates a different kind of energy, a calmer one, a more grounded one. And in this energy, both people are able to evolve in their own way. This phase you are in is often described as conscious preparation. It is not just waiting. It is transformation. It is emotional strengthening. It is becoming the kind of person who can hold a stable and balanced connection. A deep connection like this does not come only for comfort. It comes for growth. It reveals fears. It brings awareness. It pushes both people to become more emotionally honest with themselves. During this time, both sides are changing. Even if it is not visible, inner shifts are happening. Old emotional patterns are being questioned. Defensive habits are being softened. Awareness is slowly increasing. This is what prepares both people for something more stable in the future. A connection that is not built on fear or confusion, but on clarity and emotional maturity. And as this process continues, you begin to understand something very important. You are not incomplete. You are not waiting to be made whole by someone else. You are becoming whole within yourself. And from that wholeness, love becomes healthier. It becomes calmer. It becomes stronger. It becomes something that does not break easily under pressure. If this message resonates with you, it is not because it is controlling your path, but because it reflects emotions you are already processing inside yourself. Take it as a reminder to trust yourself more deeply, trust your growth, trust your emotional journey, and allow life to unfold without force. Because what is meant for you does not need to be chased. It will meet you when both energies are ready, aligned, and at peace.